Sugar is everywhere. It's in desserts, it's in soda, it's in candy, chocolate, and ice cream. But it's also in places most people don't expect. Breakfast cereals, flavored yogurt, energy drinks, bread, sauces, even foods marketed as healthy. For many people, sugar has become a normal part of everyday life. A quick reward, a comfort food, a small burst of pleasure during a busy day. And there's a reason it feels that way. Because your brain is wired to love sugar. Not metaphorically, biologically, deep inside the brain, powerful reward circuits react strongly when sugar enters the body. These circuits evolved for survival. For most of human history, food was uncertain, energy was precious, and sweet foods were rare in nature. Sweetness usually signaled something valuable. Fruit, honey, energy-dense nutrition that helped humans survive periods of scarcity. So the brain evolved a simple rule. Sweet means energy. Energy means survival. And survival means reward. That reward system still exists today. But the modern food environment has changed dramatically. Instead of rare, sweet foods appearing occasionally in nature, sugar is now everywhere. Highly concentrated, highly refined, and constantly available. To understand why sugar has such a powerful effect on the body and brain, we first need to understand what sugar actually is. Sugar is a type of carbohydrate. Carbohydrates are molecules made from carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Their main role in the body is providing energy. The simplest carbohydrates are called sugars: glucose, fructose, sucrose, lactose. These molecules are small and easy for the body to absorb. When you eat foods containing sugar, digestion begins quickly. Enzymes in the digestive system break carbohydrates down into glucose. Glucose then enters the bloodstream. And this is where an important biological signal begins. Your body carefully regulates the level of glucose in your blood. Too little glucose can impair brain function. Too much glucose can damage tissues over time. So, the body maintains a narrow balance. The hormone responsible for managing this balance is insulin. Insulin is produced by the pancreas. When blood glucose rises after a meal, insulin is released. Its job is to move glucose from the bloodstream into cells. Muscle cells use glucose for energy. The liver stores some of it as glycogen. And if there is more energy than the body currently needs, some of that energy may eventually be stored as fat. This system works extremely well under normal conditions, but modern diets often contain large amounts of rapidly absorbed sugars. Sugary drinks, refined desserts, and ultra-processed foods can cause glucose levels to rise very quickly. The body responds with a strong insulin release. Glucose is rapidly removed from the bloodstream. Sometimes, this rapid shift can lead to a drop in blood sugar later, which may trigger hunger again. This cycle of rapid spikes and drops can encourage repeated eating. But sugar's influence on the body goes beyond metabolism. It also strongly affects the brain. When sugar is consumed, the brain's reward system becomes active. This system is centered around a neurotransmitter called dopamine. Dopamine is often associated with motivation and reward. When something beneficial happens, dopamine signaling increases. The brain learns to associate that behavior with pleasure, and it becomes more likely to repeat it. Sugar activates this system powerfully. When sweet taste receptors on the tongue detect sugar, signals are sent to the brain. Reward pathways activate. Dopamine levels rise. The experience feels pleasurable. The brain records the event as something worth repeating. From an evolutionary perspective, this system helped guide humans toward energy-rich foods. But in the modern world, this system can become overstimulated. Highly processed foods often combine sugar with fat and refined carbohydrates. This combination can amplify the reward signal. The brain begins associating these foods with strong pleasure. Over time, this can shape habits. People may begin craving sweet foods not only when they are hungry, but also when they are stressed, bored, or emotionally tired. In these moments, sugar becomes more than nutrition. It becomes emotional regulation, a quick reward, a small escape. This is why sugar cravings often appear during stressful days. The brain remembers that sugar provides a short burst of pleasure. However, this does not mean sugar is literally identical to addictive drugs. The comparison is often exaggerated, but it is true that sugar interacts with the same neural reward systems that reinforce many behaviors. And when highly rewarding foods are constantly available, habits can develop quickly. Another important factor is exposure. Taste preferences are not fixed at birth. They adapt over time. When people regularly consume very sweet foods, the brain gradually recalibrates what normal sweetness feels like. Foods that once tasted sweet may start to feel less satisfying. This can encourage even higher sugar intake. But the opposite is also true. When people gradually reduce added sugars in their diet, taste sensitivity often shifts. Natural sweetness in fruits and whole foods becomes more noticeable. This illustrates an important concept. The brain is adaptable. Habits that feel automatic today can change with time and consistent behavior. Sugar itself is not inherently evil. It is simply a source of energy. The problem is not the existence of sugar. The problem is the environment in which sugar now exists. In nature, sugar appeared in relatively small amounts, usually accompanied by fiber, water, and nutrients. An apple contains sugar, but it also contains fiber that slows digestion. It provides vitamins, minerals, and plant compounds. Eating fruit rarely produces the same rapid metabolic effects as drinking a large sugary beverage. Modern processed foods remove many of those natural buffers. Refined sugar enters the bloodstream more quickly. Portion sizes become larger, and the brain receives stronger reward signals. Over time, this environment makes it easy to consume far more sugar than the body originally evolved to handle. But understanding how sugar works also reveals something encouraging. Small changes can have powerful effects. Reducing sugary drinks is one of the most effective steps. Liquid sugar is absorbed extremely quickly and often fails to create strong feelings of fullness. Choosing whole foods more often can stabilize blood sugar levels. Fiber slows digestion. Protein and healthy fats support satiety. Balanced meals reduce the likelihood of dramatic glucose spikes. Sleep also plays a role. Sleep deprivation can increase cravings for high-sugar foods. When the brain is tired, it often seeks quick energy. Stress management matters as well. Chronic stress can amplify reward-seeking behaviors, including sugar cravings. In other words, sugar consumption is rarely driven by a single factor. It is influenced by biology, by environment, by habits, by sleep, by stress. All of these systems interact. But once you understand how sugar affects the brain and body, something important happens. Cravings become less mysterious. You begin to recognize the biological signals behind them. The goal is not complete elimination. Extreme restriction often backfires. Instead, the goal is awareness, creating an environment where highly concentrated sugars are not the constant default, allowing the brain's reward system to recalibrate and gradually shifting habits toward foods that support stable energy and long-term health. Because sugar is powerful, it interacts with ancient biological systems designed for survival. But those systems can be guided. And once you understand the science behind sugar, you stop blaming willpower. You start understanding the biology behind the craving. A brain that evolved to seek energy. A modern world overflowing with sweetness. And the quiet process of learning how to bring those two systems back into balance.